So you know me already. I'm Nadine Sabaton. I am an occupational therapist with the perinatal team, and you are Ellie, and you have baby Nate, who is now
3 months, just over 3 months, about 14 weeks,
okay.
I think.
It's funny because you lose the track. We were talking about this the other day. You lose the track of where it goes from weeks to months, like, and when you
as soon as they hit the 3 month stage, I think you just go, yeah, months. Yeah. It's so much easier. Yeah.
And I first met you when you were pregnant with Nate, and we were talking about this the other day, weren't we? I think you were about 36.
Yeah, it was late on.
Weeks, 35
late on
weeks,
my
36. So why don't you tell me a little bit about kind of your journey with us, with our service, and what prompted you, firstly, to seek out some support? Okay,
so I've got 2 older children as well, Grace and Faye. My youngest is 7 and the oldest is 9. And I sort of began having issues with my mental health and postnatal depression following the birth of my first daughter. That sort of went away, and then it came back when I had my second child, and it's sort of, I think it's always sort of been there, just like
dormant.
Yeah, laying dormant in my system, but never really been an issue. And then when I got pregnant with Nate, I really struggled. I think lots of things that affected me from my past around pregnancy and things sort of came back up. So I decided alongside my partner that we needed to sort of seek some help, and initially we started with just medication, which I'd been on previously.
And was that through your GP?
Yeah, and then we were referred to CPFT, and I had an appointment at the GP surgery with I can't remember who it was, one of the psychotherapists there, and he then referred me to the perinatal mental health team. Okay. And then that's
how you got. Yeah, sure. So I think probably the person that you saw as part of your GP was part of what we call the primary mental health care service. It used to be called PRISM. Yeah. So if you highlight to your GP that you're having problems, they then ask that service to kind of meet with you and look at what's going on and what's going to be most helpful, and then send that referral through to us. And had kind of at that early point when you realised that things weren't perhaps as well as you'd like them to be, and your mental health wasn't quite as good as you'd have hoped, and it reminded you of those kind of, you know, your past experiences, was there any point with kind of your midwife that was highlighted? You know, did they ask you about your mental health?
They did, but it was very, very brief. It was just sort of a brief sort of overview with most of the midwives, and then there was one appointment that I think sort of pushed the contact with you guys more, where I did sort of have a little bit of a breakdown in front of midwife, and it was probably the first professional that I'd sort of really shown my true colours to, and she was quite concerned, and she questioned whether we'd got any support and things like that, and we did say that we'd been referred to what used to be the PRISM thing, and I think I feel like she might have pushed that referral a little bit. So
looking back, I think you had the initial referral, there'd been the complications with your GP and with your address and trying to kind of get in contact with you, and then I think you'd gone to that, was her name Jackie, that midwife?
Yeah, Jackie,
so you'd been to see her, and she had kind of really felt that you needed some additional support, so she put through another referral to our service, just supporting the other one, saying, look, this lady really is struggling.
I think that's the point where we realised, me and Nathan, my partner, at that point, that actually things were more difficult than we thought they had been. And Jackie was brilliant because she helped me with, I'm needle phobic, and she helped me with all of that side of my pregnancy as well, and really took the time to sort of delve into a lot of my issues, where a lot of the midwives, I suppose, it's sort of textbook, just sort of ask you the tick box questions about surrounding mental health, and then just let you go on. But fortunately enough, Jackie was the one that I ended up sort of having a breakdown in front of, because she was the right person to support us in that. Yeah.
So from that point, I think it probably wasn't that long until your initial assessment, from the point that Jackie had kind of backed up your referral. And if you can think back to that first assessment, I mean, it was me that did the assessment with you. Can you tell me a bit what that felt like?
So, I mean, initially having somebody new come into the home when you've got mental health issues is quite daunting, but within minutes I was quite relaxed and, like, you know, I was quite open to talk about everything, and we went through a lot of my history and sort of actually probably discovered some of the reasons behind a lot of my mental health issues, some of the things that I probably haven't spoken to anybody about before. And I mean, after the initial assessment, it just felt like there was a weight lifted. Like I had you, and I suddenly had this person that understood and actually sympathised with me and actually wanted to support me. Whereas in the past, like with GPs and things, and like the midwives, like we say, I think it's all very tick box, and that's it. And it's, and with GPs, it's here's some medication, and with midwives, it's oh yeah, you're okay. So yeah, I just felt like it was sort of the opening to a new. There was a light at the end of the tunnel after that initial assessment. And sort of thinking back again to that assessment and sort of the plan that we created together, in terms of the service that you'd get, the support that you get from our team, what did that look like? So from that point, you know, what was that plan? What was your understanding of what help you were going to get? Okay, so from that point, quite early on, we spoke about obviously initially just making sure that we had like weekly, I think it was weekly visits we had. Just to sort of discover and delve more into the things that I was really struggling with, to pinpoint sort of if there were any triggers and what exactly I needed to get me sort of through. I was building up that relationship as well, and building up the relationship, which is great, and we've got a great relationship now. And also then further down the line talking about things like therapies and things that were going to support me. And then of course the group, which has been amazing. And that was, I think that was the first probably sort of thing that has really supported me. It's the first sort of step to making a change. And what is it about that group that's been particularly helpful for you? I mean, for me, I've spoken to you about it before. It's we're not normal people, but we are mothers that suffer with mental health issues, and to go to a normal group, that's very, very daunting for myself. I get very, very anxious. I feel paranoid. I feel like people are looking at me. I feel like if I might say the wrong thing, then people might judge me for it, because I'm quite blasé about motherhood. I'm quite laid back. I'm quite this can be really rubbish sometimes. And I do feel like some people can judge you for that sometimes. But with the group, even though we don't really discuss our mental health or our issues, just knowing that there's people in a room with you that might be struggling with the same sort of thing, it just really puts you at ease. And I mean, the first day, I planned to get to the group early, which is a big thing for me, and I was late. And had it been any other group, I wouldn't have walked in the door. But knowing that you were going to be there, and Joy that I've met before as well, and it was just so welcoming. Good. I think it's so helpful having a point of contact with the people that are running that group, because it can be one of the most daunting things about walking into a new situation. And you know there's going to be a sea of faces in front of you who you've never met before, but if there's at least one person who you've had that contact with and know that you know, they know your name, they know who you are, you know, we need your baby, it just offers a bit more comfort to what is quite a strained situation, I guess. Even still walking in, I did have that little bit of, gosh, I'd opened the door and there was all these new faces, but again, within minutes, everyone was so just friendly and non-judgmental, and just everyone was so happy to talk to each other, because having those people around you sort of gives you the confidence to just be yourself, because you just feel more normalised. And I guess one really positive thing out of the group is that, because you know it's only an 8-week kind of programme that we offer, but you've been able to make such close network, like a close network of the mums that were all there, that you really want to drive that forward. And everybody's quite keen to keep it going. We are, and keep that group set up that's supportive for mums who have similar shared kind of experience with mental health problems. To have that safe space that you can meet up and know you've got that support. So we're really keen to try and set up Yeah.
you know, that to continue happening, if you like.
Yeah, so we've got the WhatsApp group that we're all on, and I mean, that is for general support as well. I mean, if we're having a rubbish day or if there's something we want to like celebrate or share with others, we all just talk really, really informally on there together. So I think the plan moving forward with the group is that we've got 3 weeks to continue using the space that we're in, but then following that, as a group of mums, we're going to try and continue to meet up at the same time every week, and then find sort of a space that we can use routinely until we find a more permanent location.